Located about 30 miles from Miami off of the Tamiami Trail is a small portion of Everglades National Park that is known as Shark Valley. One of the main features of this park is its 15-mile loop. You can either explore it by tram, on foot, or you can rent a bicycle like we did. The tram is a great option for people with limited mobility, and it's also great for people that want to learn more about the area because there is a ranger on board that will give you a ton of facts. Renting the bikes will give you the opportunity to stop when you see wildlife, and it will also allow you to stop for as long as you want at the tower at the halfway point, which we'll talk about in a little bit. This video was shot in December, and the night before had been particularly cold, by Florida standards anyways. And that ended up working out in our favor because all of the gators were coming out of the water to sun themselves and warm back up. We were already super excited with just seeing one alligator. Little did we know that we would end up losing count by the end of the day. And we even saw a couple of sets of babies. But one thing that's interesting about Shark Valley is that it does not contain water year-round. So the time of year that you visit might have a huge part in determining what type of wildlife you may see. Even though it is called Shark Valley, you're probably not going to see any sharks here. But you might see alligators, ibis, wood storks, roseate spoonbills, raccoons, white-tailed deer, and various amphibians. And here's an interesting fact about the alligator. Even though they only have 75 teeth in their mouth at any given time, they have a ton of replacements and can have around 3,000 teeth over the course of their lifetime. One of the things that we didn't get to check out on our visit to the park were some of these side trails. They seem really cool, but unfortunately they were flooded at the time of our visit. Like I said before, our visit had no shortage of alligator sightings. It was kind of funny because at first we were stopping to take pictures of everyone, but eventually it was just kind of like, oh, there goes another gator. Even though the bike trail is really long, it's almost completely flat, so you don't need to be some sort of ultra cycler to do this loop. As we pedaled along, we started to get our first glimpses of the Shark Valley Observation Tower off in the distance. Not only is that the halfway point in the loop, but it is a must stop as well. The rental bikes have a little basket on the back where you can pack either a lunch or at least a snack to give you some energy for the ride back. Also be sure to bring plenty of water. It gets pretty hot out here. There were some water fountains to refill your bottles at the bottom of the tower, but the water tasted a tiny bit funky, so if you can bring all that you need, I would recommend it. And here we are on our way up the observation tower. At 70 feet tall, this is the highest point in the entire park. There is an even higher platform that you can see right here, but unfortunately it was blocked off. I'm not sure if it's ever accessible to the public. After enjoying the view for a bit, one of the trams must have arrived because it suddenly got pretty crowded. One of the benefits of riding the bikes is that you can take your time and wait out the crowds. This tower has such a fascinating look, and I wanted to get a shot of it without a ton of people on it. So we just waited until the tour group headed back to the shuttle and I got my shot. One cool thing about Florida being so flat is that from the top of the tower you can see about 20 miles in every direction. Soon it was time to start heading back because we still had quite a few miles left on our bike ride. Even though we still saw quite a few gators on this half of the ride, it was probably only about half the amount that we saw on the way out to the tower. We really lucked out because the sun stayed in the clouds for most of our visit, and that kept the temperatures pretty mild. Towards the end of the ride, the sun started to peek out and it definitely shot up a few degrees. If you see the tram while you're riding, be sure to pull over and let it pass. The road is a little bit on the narrow side and it would be kind of dangerous to try and ride past it. The mile markers painted on the road were a really nice touch. It gave us a good idea of how much further we had to go, and once we saw mile marker 14, we knew that we were almost home free. Overall, this is a really fun experience and it's not as tiring as it seems. And that's gonna do it for this one. What's your favorite alligator joke? Let us know in the comments below. We have some really cool videos coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. For all the information about Shark Valley, as well as other awesome things to do in Florida, head on over to 𝐊𝐿𝐷�adventurelife.com.